Hey, and welcome to the Blueprints to Buildings podcast. I'm your host, Glen Palmer, and on this show, we interview the movers and shakers in the world of property, development, and real estate. Now, before we dive in, this show is supported by something very few developers have quietly been using to get their products funded and sold faster without touching traditional 3D models. It's early, it's clever, and it's changing how people see off-plan property. I'll leave it there, but if you're curious, you can message me on LinkedIn at Glen Palmer Online or check out the show notes below. So today I am joined by Amy Brooke. Now she is a CPA turned leadership communication partner and co-founder of Leadership in Life Coaching, helping organizations replace ambiguity with clarity so decisions can move faster, execution improves, and ownership becomes a cultural, not accidental. Now, Amy, welcome. Really great to have you on the show. Can't wait to kick this one off and learn from your experiences. So let's kick in, shall we?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to get stuck in and have a good chat. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Excellent, no problem whatsoever. So, Amy, if time travel became a reality, right, and you had a chance to go back in time to who you were when you first started your career, what advice would the person you now actually tell your younger self?
Oh my goodness, where the list would be huge. That is a genius question. I love it. Um, Going back to my younger career, I think I suffered for such a long time, like in my own head, and I didn't get past emotions, self-doubt, fear. And I would go back and tell myself, like, if you're stuck in that emotional and just thinking about yourself, you're never going to get further and look at and get ahead in the world. And I was frustrated inside because I knew I had something to give so much in my early career. I had ideas, I had passion. I was absolutely terrified of public speaking. I mean, like terrified.
You and me
I
both.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. It's like, we talk about it on our membership. So many people are scared of it. And even people who've worked their way up to CEOs were scared of public speaking, and we don't talk about it enough. And also, I never really understood what imposter syndrome was. But my gosh, I think because of the public speaking, I did a lot of exams to prove myself all the time. I went in lots of different avenues. I did like a couple of diplomas. I did, health and safety exams. I went into NEBOSH, and then I did my CPA. Like, I'm like a bit of a jack of all trades. And I was doing that, I think, to prove myself because I was scared of speaking up. So I thought the work would speak for itself.
Yeah,
Going back now, big lesson. Work never speaks for itself. You
yeah,
have to communicate. And that's
yeah.
the big thing that I'm really passionate about now.
Oh, brilliant. And to be honest, that is one of my biggest fears as well. So, well, one way to combat that is to do this.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
So it's to get myself out there and start just communicating with other people, viewing their passion, seeing what they're doing in the world and just get that communication growing. Baby steps. So first it's the podcast. But my main aim would be to one day, I don't quite think I'm ready yet, but my main aim would be to be on the stage, giving a speech about
Yeah.
whiskey. But that's another
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. Perfect. When you're doing it about a passion, it's so much easier as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Amy, in construction and property projects, they often stall because of misalignment rather than skill. So, we've just been talking about communication. So, what communication breakdowns do you actually see most often?
So for us, like when I kind of look at our journey, it's actually the business that we've created now, Leadership in Life Coaching, actually came from seeing this and this
Yeah.
passion with it. So my husband and I were in the corporate world, most of our life. We left the corporate world. I only left, I was part-time for a while. I only left in September to be
Congratulations.
full-time. Thank you. And my husband left about a year and a half ago. So it was the reason, yeah, why we created our business. And it was because we really saw that communication and how you communicate with people will get you far, not just in work, but in any area of life. And people, when we see like in the real estate world, a lot of people want to leave the corporate world. So they start a real estate portfolio because they're like, I don't want to be in the corporate world. I want to live a passive life, whatever else. And, you know, come
Yeah,
into
yeah,
property and have a huge shock because it is far from passive. It is a business.
yes,
And, you know, and you have to be good at it. So I kind of look at, well, like the work really is your playground to learn how to communicate, because you're going to take you with you wherever you go. And so these traits follow you. So learning how to communicate is really what has helped us in the real estate and the development world. And when I say learning how to communicate, it's putting yourselves at all times in the other person's shoes that you're dealing
yeah,
with. So whenever I communicate, I have a strategy behind it. And you have to take a deep breath. And especially now, like we've moved into development now, and it's even more important now, because when you're balancing big projects and people need clarity, they need you to be the leader and to be the one clarifying more than anything. And it's such a weird concept, because you come into this world with, most developers come in with this imposter syndrome because you're like, oh my gosh, every like this, you know, the architect knows so much and they're so smart, and the planner knows so much and they're so smart, and all these different people. So you come in with this imposter syndrome, trying to rely on everybody, when actually you're the one there that needs to make sure that everybody understands what each other is doing. So
yeah,
that is the big thing that has been crucial for us, I believe, in being successful. That we learned in our corporate career and we took that skill over into real estate, that we always look at a situation from another person's shoes before we respond to an email, before we, you know, respond to a trade, any problem that's come up, because that's all you're doing. You just, you know, you're learning how to get through problems every single day. That's what it is. You're learning how
yeah,
to get through failures all the time. That's what it is. And now and again, you have a really nice win here and there along the way. So it really is about managing that in between piece. And doing that, you have to clear the other person's headspace. You have to make sure that you're not filling their head with anything that they don't need to know, so they can go on and do the job that they need to do. And every time you speak to them, you need to think about, okay, what is the desired outcome that I need from this? And
yeah.
communicate in a way that keeps you fair, you know, respectful, likable, but getting to the point, getting to, you know, this is what I need from you. So yeah, so that's really the key piece that's really helped us.
Yeah, and sort of expanding on that a little bit, developers they operate under sometimes extreme pressure from, you know, all angles, whether it be investors, whether it be planners, contractors. So how does communication clarity directly impact the speed of execution? And how do you see sort of new technologies like, you know, the immersive 3D visualization tools that we are now seeing on the market help with that clearer communication and that quicker execution?
Well, I think kind of like starting off on the first piece, like on the kind of quicker communication and execution. Like I come back to clarity, and I'll give you an example. So we're actually in Ontario, Canada. I was like, we moved from the UK 14 years ago, so that's kind of where
That
we're doing
that
development.
also threw me a little bit, by the way. As I'm saying, you do not sound Canadian at all.
Yeah, we've been here 14 years, and I think our accent neutralized for a while. Because I worked at Walmart head office for like 10 years, and people didn't like, I came over really funny, like British people are quite funny.
Yeah.
And nobody could hear my jokes because they didn't understand my accent. So I had to neutralize myself. But then the last 4 years, I was consulting for a UK company, even though we consulted for Walmart US. And so now I sound like I'm fresh off the boat again. so,
Right, right.
so it's interesting, but yeah, but back to your question. As an example, so we have a designer that has just been incredible, and at the moment we're doing a brand new 8-unit build, multifamily residential, and we've had lots of challenges dealing with the city. We went through minor variances that, we presented for ourselves at the Committee of Adjustments to kind of get these minor variances through. We got rejected. We had to take it to the next level, to the Ontario Land Tribunal, which we did actually appeal, and we actually won that. But we ended up going down a different route anyway. But this particular designer, I've worked with him, and I've tried to be as clear as possible. I've always phoned him to say, look, I'm not going to waste too much of your time. I know you're really busy, but I don't understand this. Can you help me just understand this piece of it? And I've really leaned on people to make sure that they're taking me along on the journey. But what I also did is, it's the same as when I was, managing teams at work. I gave him and the rest of the team, but this is the example in particular, I gave him the space to also make mistakes. I gave him that kind of psychological safe environment where I'm not looking at him as, I'm paying you, and so you shouldn't be making mistakes because you should know this. Because things are coming up all the time, and you're dealing with the city, and it depends who you're dealing with, what kind of day they're having, whether they pull something random from the zoning that they're saying we have to meet now. And so I really kind of, made him feel that, it's okay to make mistakes. And the way I did that was if I notice something, it's my responsibility to go and just double check and think, does that make sense? And it's more leaning in to make sure I understand it. And through me asking questions, making sure I understand it, saying, so I'm reading that different. Am I understanding it right? It gave him the space to be able to say, well, actually, no, I think you're right. I think so. It starts forming a partnership relationship rather than looking at somebody as, I'm paying you a certain amount, so you need to deliver that skill. And I think that's the kind of difference when you're dealing with this. You have to start bridging that partnership where you can kind of be in a safe space with each other to make mistakes. Because what happens then is, people, not only do they want to work with you, because people want to work with people that they feel like they're on a team with, they'll come to you quicker with any problems. They're never in their own head of thinking, oh, I've done something wrong, or this has happened. How do I, approach this client to let them know they're going to be, pissed, whatever it is. And so they come to you quicker. But then what also happened with us in this example is, he actually, I was kind of putting all the building permits together, and it's the first time I've dealt with this city. And he actually said to me, do you know what? You're great to work with. I'll do this for you. I do it all the time. I won't charge you. I'll put all the building permits together, and I'll represent you with the city because I know how to get through this quickly. That has been incredible. And that purely has just come from, if I just go back to the starting point of whoever you communicate with, put yourself in their shoes before you answer any communication or whatever. What's going on in their world? How can you clear their headspace? How can you make it easier for them to work with you?
That's brilliant how you flip that switch and put yourself into their positions, because not many people do that, to be honest. Not many people, when there is a problem or whatever, and well, you know where we're coming from when we're, UK, very much blame culture, and I try and get away from that blame culture. It's not about who did what, it's about learning from mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. It's about understanding that and flipping that script to say, yes, how they made a mistake, but how do they feel about it? And you're right, if you go in with that attitude to sort of say, flipping the script, like I say, being in their shoes, you can understand the sort of issues that they have, and it becomes a much more open conversation. You get much more, you benefit a lot more from it, which I think. So yeah, I think you're spot on. You hit the nail on the head there. About, and I wish more people were like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
because
what
it
we're
would,
trying to teach, honestly. This is our passion, and it really is not just in this space. It's
it's
literally in the
everywhere.
world. Like our designer, when he made a couple of mistakes, and I noticed it, but just straight away, like I say, putting yourself in his shoes, he was running out the door, and I'm thinking, I know he's got a couple of young kids. like what's going on in that person's world. We are all human. And by kind of giving each other that safe space and, like you say, reverting from that blame culture, it works
Mm,
for us and it works quick. It like
yeah,
you see results so quick and you can flip that switch right now, easy.
yeah,
That's all you have to do. And you're in a different zone. You've removed like the emotion, you're thinking about the other person. But to answer
yeah.
your question on technology, not as good with technology, me. I rely on everybody else. So I don't know whether I can answer that one. So
Right, okay.
yeah, yeah, that's out of my scope, really, Glenn.
Yeah, okay. So you often talk about the cleaner handoffs. So in property projects, where do handoffs usually fail between leadership, site teams, and management? And we've talked a lot about communication. That could be one of it. But is there any others that you have found, as you're going along?
Yeah, I think for us it's never. I come back to the point of you have to remember that you're kind of the CEO of your business. So when you've got a project on the go, you're the CEO of that, and it's your job and it's your project, and the onus is going to be on you, and looking after whether you're looking after your own money or other people's money, it's on you,
Yeah,
and you're when you look at yourself as the CEO, it kind of puts you in that mindset of, okay, I do have to make sure that these different people all, are on the right page. They all know what they're doing. So what I see a lot of people do is they kind of get into the property. They've again, and it probably comes from an underlying issue of imposter syndrome. They think that everybody's, they know what they're doing because they're the experts, and that person would have spoke to that person because I'm just assuming it. But the thing that I've learned is whenever I get a gut feeling and it comes to me, and I'm starting to really kind of recognize this intuition now that it comes to me, and I think, I wonder if the engineer needs that update from the designer. I wonder if he got that. Whenever that comes to my mind, that's something I act upon. I never leave it. And
yeah,
even in the smaller projects we've done a lot of like conversions. We converted, they have a lot of kind of small multifamily over here in Ontario as well. So a lot of single family to triplex conversions. We converted a church to a fourplex conversion. So things like that kind of thing. And even that, like dealing with the trade. So it's maybe a lower amount of people than brand new development, but you've got the trades, you've got the building inspector, we've got as contractor, and as contractor can, he's got young kids as well, he's in his own world and he just wants to get in and get things done. And you just have to remember that you're there to manage all them still. Don't
yeah,
And all you have to do is come in with a little bit of clarity here and there, going, is everything on track? Did you get what you needed from him? Do you need anything from me? And that's all it takes. It's just
yeah,
that kind of aligning. And it's just again remembering that people are human, and the contractor might go, oh, you've reminded me, thank you, I was on a mission doing this and that's important, and you've reminded me I need to get to that person. And so by you just making sure that you're just overseeing by asking them questions every few days, whatever it is, it
yeah,
just keeps people thinking, thank you for the reminder, thank you for not coming down at me. And there's a subtle underlying of, again, what outcome am I trying to get from this? The outcome I'm trying to get is to make sure everybody's, riding the same wave, and everybody's got clear on what each other's doing, and everybody's got what everybody needs from each other.
yeah. Oh, love it. The amount of times, right? This is just going from my own personal experience where my mind flits from one thing to the next and I forget to do something. And then my wife asks me, oh, have you done this? And oh man, I've just forgot. Thank you very much for reminding me. It's unbelievable. Now, that's just me. I am sure there is loads of people just like me who are doing exactly the same thing, trying to run 50 things at once. And yeah, it's just that bringing it back on track, just a
Yeah,
gentle reminder now and again. For me, it goes a long way. Yeah, it just,
100%.
I'm just thinking about my own, how I constantly forget to do things.
Oh, me
Um,
too. Me too,
So
Glenn.
you've got your 60-day culture and ownership pilot. Now that really sounds, I love it. It sounds practical, doesn't sound fluff at all. What behavior shifts do you find move the needle inside very, very busy organizations?
So, like our business is quite new. We've only like this has been a passion of ours for like, oh my gosh, 15, 20 years
Oh,
to
I'm
actually.
so glad that you're doing your passion.
Thank you. Yeah, it really like every day we are working so hard every day, but we are so excited to get up and on a night I can't get to sleep because I've got ideas going, and so it's exciting when you kind of find that passion. And not everybody finds it, but I would say to everybody like try and pursue that in what figure it out, figure out what your why is, what what your passion is. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, sorry, what was your question again? I kind of went off on one.
Your 60-day culture and ownership
Yes.
pilot sounds that
An
practical.
important
Well,
one, yeah. That was me. That was me forgetting myself then, Glenn. So thank you. Um, so yeah. So what this is this is something that we offer to organisations, and the shift, like it really is because organize it like it's a monthly membership that we do, and the reason why it's a monthly membership is because we truly believe that building habits over time is key. And when you've got companies that take on, oh, we're going to do a leadership training. I'm going to put all, I don't know, like 10 of our leaders from the company on this course. You have somebody that comes in, for a few days, and you're in it. You learn some great strategies and everything. How much actually develops as a habit then that you take away with you? You might learn some good quotes, some good concepts and whatever, but you don't start embedding it. And the other
mm,
thing is it's usually focused on leaders. And so it's the leaders of people that get the exposure to that kind of thinking. What we're trying to do is a very different approach. We believe that all levels of the organization really should have access to start developing self-awareness. Being able to lead yourself, which is self-awareness, will naturally make you a better leader. And
yeah.
it's the things like that I've already talked about now with kind of, putting yourselves in other people's shoes and that kind of thing. And so by and what we do is we have guest speakers on within the membership, and it really comes from a lot of our network, but we're really kind of reaching out and getting some really good buy-in on this because people are really believing in the concept. But we'll get like CEOs on, executives, mainly from the corporate world. We do have a few people from the real estate and the entrepreneur world to see their view on it, but it's really interviewing them and listening to like I love the question that you asked at the beginning, but what was their doubts, fears, the self-awareness journey that they had to overcome before they could lead people. And then we'll
Mm,
move on to, some leadership traits and, kind of tips for leading people. But it's really at the root of helping people recognize themselves, kind of getting out all the scratchy elements that they're not helping themselves with, they're not helping other people with. And that's really the heart of this. And so the 2 month pilot, we need at least 10 people from an organization to come on that, because and ideally in the same team, because we kind of like have a structure with kind of questionnaires throughout to see the shift in only 2 months. And we believe that like in only 2 months, like we've had some success there. It's kind of it's early days, but it's showing that yeah, it doesn't take that long to start building a habit. But you imagine you have people just being able to kind of come on these calls, learn from people that they deem successful, that oh they must be able to think in another level, that no, we're all human and we all started with these doubts and fears, but they're going to teach you how they got over them. And that's
yeah.
when you can start reflecting in yourself at any level. And what happens is the culture grows into a self-aware culture that's really thinking about each other first. It brings, a more continuous improvement culture, a more process improvement culture, and we're really seeing some great effects of this. So we only do like three between 2 and 4 sessions, and we just do them as lunch and learns where we do the interviews, and
Yeah.
we kind of like put the learnings and the patterns and we pull that out afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the learning that it comes from.
I mean, I love that. And in fact, I've got one of my mantras right here is that when you're talking about your imposter syndrome, I got to admit, I suffer from that a lot. And I've got a little mantra on the side here that says, I am on the right path. Every expert I admire once stood exactly where I am now.
Oh, I love that. Love it.
Confused, uncertain, but moving forward anyway. And that just sort of encapsulates what you're saying there. Everybody, whether they're a CEO, whether they're just starting off, that every single one of them had those doubts. And it's learning from those doubts and learning what they did and how they approached the problems. So yeah, uh, loved our conversation, to be honest. I think your view on putting everything in somebody else's shoes, or having your view in somebody else's shoes, I am a big supporter of that. In a world where it's all me, 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 it's nice to say, hold on a second, what about the other person? Amy, loved having you on the show. Really, really enjoyed the conversation. Your take on how leadership can grow. Once again, I'd like to thank my listeners and viewers on the YouTube as well. But before we go, Amy, if listeners or viewers want to get in contact with you, learn about what you do, what are the best ways for my listeners and viewers to do that? Especially about that 60, that 90, is it 60 day or 90 day? 60 day.
60 day, yeah, the 60-day pilot. So you can go onto our website, which is leadershipinlifecoaching.com. And on there we have, it's mainly targeted at organizations, but we have a lot of individuals that join as well, because obviously, this is very helpful for people that are wanting to progress their career. So there's an individuals tab on there as well. So that's the best way to learn about that. Or you can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram mainly, which is Amy Brooke _life. I talk a lot about communication strategies on there. And then we're also on LinkedIn. My Amy Brooke on LinkedIn, and my husband's Nigel Brooke. So we post a lot on there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Amy. And then just before we go, quick reminder, this episode was supported by a PropTech visual platform that is changing how forward-thinking developers plan, pitch, and sell. It's not mainstream yet, but it soon will be. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you know exactly where to find me. You've been listening to the Blueprints to Buildings podcast. I'm your host, Glen Palmer, and I was joined today by Amy. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.